Luisa Montalvo, welcome to Your Story, Your Glory. We are so excited to have you here, and we are so thrilled to listen to your story and share it with the world to know the glory that you are getting here.
Absolutely. Welcome, Luisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
We are too.
So, Luisa Montalvo, World Champion of Public Speaking 2024. When you heard this title for the first time, how did it feel, Luisa?
I will be very honest with you. I was at the convention and I had my best friend and my cousin on FaceTime while they were announcing the winners. And I had the speakers in a certain order because luckily I was the second speaker. So I got to hear all the other speakers because usually I don't listen to any speakers because I don't want them getting in my head before I'm about to go on stage. But being the second speaker, I really didn't hear the first speaker, so I listened to the rest of them. And I had them in a certain order, the way I thought they were going to be judged and awarded. So when they said third place, I said, okay, that's good. Second place, I had second place Anna in first place. So I thought if she was first place, I'm not even placing. I'm not even going to get third. I'm not going to get first, second, or third. So I was telling my cousin and my best friend on my phone, I said, hey, you guys, I'm out. I'm not even winning this. So, I'll try next year. And then they said, Luisa Montalvo. And I said, what? And I have difficulty walking. I can only walk about 10 steps before it really starts to hurt. So I don't know what possessed me, but I just got up out of my chair and I said, I'm walking. I had made a promise to myself and to my mother that if I ever won, I would walk up to receive my trophy. I wouldn't go in my crutches or I wouldn't go in my wheelchair because I've been working for this for 11 years and I wasn't going to let my wheelchair or crutches get in the way. So luckily I had two people, Lauren, who was just an accredited speaker. She recently became accredited speaker, and Yading, who is my district director. They rushed to me and they were on either side of me, helping me walk up to the stage. So I guess I still have an adjustment to make in my mind that I actually want. I still can't believe it. It's so surreal, but it was amazing to hear. It's what I've been wanting to hear for the last 11 years. And I'm just glad it was good. It was good. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I was there, 4 rows behind you, and I saw that moment
Oh,
when you
wow.
were walking on the stage using those
Yes.
stairs. It was really a heart-touching moment, no doubt.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for being there.
This is so
11
amazing.
years.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as the luck would have it, I was in both the conventions where you won the first runners up and this time in
Wow.
2019 I was in Colorado with you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. I loved that speech. I absolutely loved it. And I told myself that 2019 back then, I told myself this is the last year you're going to compete. If you don't win this year, you're done. You just we're going to stop this because it would just consume me sometimes, and it takes so much attention and dedication. So a friend of mine, actually my 94-year-old mentor, Phyllis Allen, told me, it never looks like you're having fun. You're just too competitive. You're too serious. You don't talk to anybody. Everybody wants to talk to you and you won't let anybody get close to you. And I'm like, Phyllis, I've been working on this so long. I don't have time to talk to people. I have to study and focus and concentrate on my speech. She said, just go have fun. And so I told myself, you know what? This is 2019. This is the last year. I don't place. I'm just going to go out there and have fun. And I did.
Yeah.
And that's when I came in second. I said, oh, okay, maybe I need to have fun now.
Yes. So today you are where you are because of this organization called Toastmasters International. And I know you have put a lot of hard work, but I think everybody would like to know, how did Toastmasters happen to you?
Oh, okay. This is a story that I share with everybody when they say, "Do you remember your first Toastmaster meeting?" My first Toastmaster meeting, I was at work at Abbott Laboratories there in Austin, Texas, and they had a corporate club that was a closed club.
Mhm.
You had to be an employee. So I remember going to the human resources department because I had just started working there back in 1987. And after 3 months, you have to go back to HR and fill out more paperwork. And then you become a permanent employee and the insurance and all that stuff. So I'm walking down the hallway and they're actually having a club contest
Oh my
in one of
God.
the rooms on the way down to HR. So while I'm walking down the room, the hallway, I pass the room and I hear everybody laughing because it was a humorous contest. And I didn't know this. And I heard people laughing. I said, wait, I'm at work. Nobody's supposed to be laughing or having a good time at work. What's going on? So I remember looking through the little window there at work and I can see this gentleman. His name is Billy Webb. I can't believe I still remember his name. And I look at him and I see him up in front of everybody. So I put my ear to the window and I'm listening and everybody's laughing. And I'm thinking, I'm funnier than that. I said, what's going on? So I waited for him to finish speaking, and the sergeant at arms then let me in, and I asked him, I said, what's going on? He said, it's a meeting. We're having a contest. This is Toastmaster. And I said, I want to join. I didn't care what it was because I love to speak. I had competed in high school and everybody looked at me and they're like, you want to join? I said, yes, whatever you're doing, I want in. So that's when I joined originally the first time. And then unfortunately, after 2.5 years with that club, they disbanded the group. The club was no longer.
Okay.
And so I went about my way working, but I didn't go and find another Toastmaster club. And I guess I realized I should have maybe, but everything has its time. And so for me, this was perfect timing. But that was my first. I joined during a contest. So that was my first meeting at Toastmasters.
Wow, this is such a beautiful story. And when we talk about you joined during the contest, and today you have won the one of the most coveted contests of Toastmasters called International Speech Contest, and you became the world champion of public speaking, competing with more than 30,000 people across the world. I'm sure every single person who will listen to this podcast would love to know the process you followed on this journey and how did you prepare when you first time thought about, okay, I'm going to contest an international speech contest.
Well, that's a great question. And there's two things about me. If you really know me, you know these two things. One, I'm very competitive in anything I do. It doesn't matter if somebody says, how long would it take you to wash the dishes? I think you can do it in 5 minutes. I said, I'm going to do it in 4. So that's me. I'm always competing just mentally with any little thing I do. The second thing is I don't give up. I don't quit. I do not quit because then whatever challenge was challenging me, I feel they won. And because I'm so competitive and I have to win, that is my mentality going into anything. I said, okay, this might take you 15 years. This might take you 10 years. I was so grateful when I placed in 2019 because I had actually told myself, you're quitting. And I don't ever say that. So I'm glad I was able to place, and I was actually totally okay with coming in second in the world. I mean, who wouldn't be? First, second, or third, even the top 8, even the top 24. What an honor and what a title that is to be able to say, I was one of the top 24 speakers in the world, in 33,000 participants. That's insane to pick the top 8 or the top 24. So when I made it there, I thought, okay, my journey is over. I'm finished. I'm good. Then I was invited to Puebla, Mexico, District 34 by Toño Colorado. He invited me to be the speaker for their conference. And everybody after my keynote, which I did entirely in Spanish, and I can't believe I did that because my Spanish is horrible, but I did that. Everybody was lining up. I'm shaking hands. We're taking pictures. One lady, I know her first name is Urim, Urim. She said, Luisa, congratulations on being the first Hispanic to make it to the top 3. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that was what the title was. And I said, oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. And she turned to leave, but then she turned around and said, and good luck on making it to the first position, because if anybody can do it, you can. I thought, wait. You're not happy with second? I'm happy with second. I have to do this all over again? 7 more years of competing? I'm like, oh my gosh. No, I don't know if I can do that. But it was kind of like she challenged me. And when people challenge me to do something, I'm probably going to try to do it if I think I can. So she is the one that instilled in me to try to go for first place. I said, well, okay, here we go. And here I am.
Awesome. So this was your contest journey, but would like to know a little bit more on how did you prepare? I think a lot of people want to participate in the contest, and somewhere they don't find the right direction, how to go. Maybe they participate at the club, they lose at the club, and then they give up. For our audience, if you can just share or throw some light on the process of preparation.
Great question. And the way that you prepare, it depends on if you're going to be in the international contest. There was a time 5 or 8 years ago when I was competing where almost every international speech I listened to at district was either heartbreaking or mentally tolling, because people were talking about their brothers dying of cancer and how they had to watch their brother die of cancer. And then another lady spoke about losing her son in an accident, but he donated his organs and his heart went to a woman that was getting married, and she was able to go to the wedding to listen to her son's heartbeat. And these were all such profound, profound speeches. And I told myself, I don't have anything like that to talk about. I had the perfect childhood. I had the perfect parents. I had the perfect job. I had the perfect life. So what was I going to talk about? So I believe for you to find a topic that will be interesting to everybody, and this is the hard part, because I grew up with my father saying, you don't cry, you don't show emotion, you need to be strong. So being vulnerable to an audience is what I believe is the attraction when it comes to an audience wanting to hear you speak, because I've learned that whatever I've gone through, other people out in the audience have gone through it too. They've just never had somebody come up and say, you know what? I cried when I was in an accident because I couldn't walk, or because this hardship, whatever hardship it was. And if you're able to be totally vulnerable and expose some part of you that you would never want anybody to know. I never wanted anybody to know I was crying, but we all cry and it's a hardship, and then we're able to get past it. But if somebody up on stage is saying, I've been through that, you're like, oh, yes, me too. And so now you've created an association and a relationship with the audience, which is what you need. I go about thinking of things that I would never want to tell anybody, and then I write a speech about it. I never wanted anybody to know that in the 6th grade, I was too short and I was a girl and I couldn't play the drums. But that's what happened to me. But I turned it into a life lesson. And that's what you need to be willing to do. Your worst, lowest moment, turn it around, look for the silver lining, make it a life lesson, and then share it with the world.
What you're talking about is commonality, that anybody in the audience can relate with you when you are delivering that speech, and walk that journey of 5 to 7 minutes with you when you're sharing your story.
Wonderful. For those who haven't heard the speech, we'll put the link here to hear Luisa Montalvo World Championship speech. which was delivered in August 2024. But Louisa, what I felt when I heard your speech, you had awesome humor. Your story was very relatable. You had emotions, you had some life lessons, and you created that impact. It touched my heart. I also know for the fact that we are our best critique. So if you look back at 17th August 2024 on those 7 minutes, what is it that you think that you could have done a little better?
That's a great question. And you you might be shocked with the answer. I've gone and watched the speech. Now, after I deliver the speech, I know what my speech is supposed to sound like. Nobody else knows what it's supposed to sound
Absolutely.
like. I left out
That's true.
3 important parts. Not one, not
Really?
2. I left 3 important parts. And when I rolled off the stage, I thought, Luisa, you just blew it. You're not even going to place. That's why I felt I wasn't going to place, because I'd left out 3 most of the important parts. Now, getting on stage, something happens to, I think, everyone. I don't care how good of a speaker you are, because it happens to me, and I'm thinking it probably happens to everybody else. You can have something so memorized and so ingrained in your mind that you're like, okay, this is how it's going to go. The green light's going to come on when I say this, the yellow when I say this. I shouldn't even see the red. This is it. This is how it's going to go. And you get up there and you say one word wrong, and it throws off the whole pattern of how everything's going to go. I would love to. There's so many people that have critiqued my speech already. I would love to go back and say, no, you know why I did this? I didn't do this because of this. I did it because of this. And it's almost 2 totally different reasons. So I almost want to evaluate the evaluators, if that makes sense. I think I'm blessed with the ability that if I can't remember what I need to say, I'll throw out a line that I didn't even have written down. One of the examples is when I forget what I'm supposed to say, I say, we will listen to a stranger tell us we are valuable before we listen to ourselves. And
Yeah.
I had my hand just like this.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this because I can't remember what I was supposed to say next.
Ah,
And so I say, it's true. That's all that's all I could come up with. Like, we'll listen to a stranger, and I'm sitting there thinking, what's next? What's next? And so I say, it's true. And people are like, wow, that was so impactful. I said, no, I forgot my speech. So there's when you say we're a worst critic, I think we're a best critic, because we
yeah.
actually know what was going on behind the mind where nobody else does. There was one person that evaluated my speech, and he said, did you see how impactful it was when she was talking about being in heaven? She went and she stood up because she was in heaven. But then when she talks about coming back down to earth, she sits down. That was so impactful. I said, no, my legs were hurting. So I sat down, and I didn't even think about being in heaven or being back to earth. But it's these, some of these evaluators make me look so good. So maybe I should stop right now and not share any more of my secrets, because they make me look like a genius, and I love it.
Yeah. And I think it happens
But
with best of the people.
Yes.
Yeah, it happens with the best of the people. And the best thing is, as you said, it's true. And how you manage at that point of time, that is what your practice and preparation talks about.
Now, forgive me for interrupting, but there is a trick where if your thumb and your fingers, if you do this, it helps you with your cognitive memory.
Okay.
So I sit
no.
there and I'm doing this because I'm thinking, okay, what am I supposed to say next? Come on, Luisa, they're looking at you. Say something, say anything.
Wow. Thank you
Superb.
so much, Louisa, for being vulnerable enough to actually share
Oh,
these small elements that you have forgotten, and now that you're sharing. And definitely this trick, which will help all of us to memorize and to remember and
Yeah.
recollect if we have forgotten something. So that's a good takeaway. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Luisa, as I said that I was there in 2019 and the audience sitting and listening to your speech. I don't know whether you remember or not, but I sent you Facebook request and we became friends on said Facebook. And one post I read on your Facebook during this journey, and the post says, "What a date,
Oh,
February 19th." I saw you from 2019 till 2024. And this journey is all about story of resilience and grit. Okay, lot of ups and downs. And I would like you to throw this date on this sentence. What a date.
February 19th was the day I had the accident. And then, well, now, see, I'm trying to erase it from my memory to not make it something that holds my mind. So I want it to be just another regular day. I don't even remember. I know there were two things that happened. I believe, I can't remember if it was when I was arrested in New York for my dog.
Yes.
Yes. I had my dog on my bus and I was arrested in New York, February 19th, 2021.
Yeah.
I was arrested for 3 hours and then they realized it was kind of not so much a misunderstanding, but a justification. So my father had said, never be out drunk in public, never get arrested, never take money from the government, all these things. And I thought, wow. And my dad passed away almost 15 years ago. And I said, oh, Dad, I'm sorry. I was 64 when I got arrested. I almost made it, without getting arrested. That situation taught me so much about so many people because I was devastated. I was so embarrassed. I just wanted to crawl in a hole and die because I was so ashamed of what had happened. But this is what that situation did for me. It showed me who my true friends were and who my friends weren't. Because all my true friends understood the situation I was in. They said, don't worry about it. We know you. We know your integrity. We know your love for animals. Don't worry about it. So that showed me who my true friends were. Exactly a year later, I'm transporting dogs to New Jersey on the way back. That's when the automobile accident happened. Same day, February 19th. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So last February 19th, I said, I'm staying home. I'm staying in my room, in my bed. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. And my best friend, Sylvia Ann Morelli, called me up and said, hey, what are you doing today? I said, I'm doing nothing. I'm staying home. I'm not going to get arrested. I'm not going to be in an accident. She goes, are you going to allow that date to control you?
Yeah.
You're right. She said, hey, you know what? Let's run to Tractor Supply. And that's a store here that has dog food and cat food and anything for animals and farm animals. So I said, okay, let's go. And so we actually raced to the store. It was such a good day. Everything positive happened. It was so good. And so because of her, I was able to erase all the negative connotations that day held for me. So now it's a good day. It's a good day. But yes, yeah, that was, wow. Thank you for reading that. You took me down memory lane.
You've been able to break that mental barrier of February 19th. From 2021 when you got arrested and you met with an accident. I saw your pictures lying on the bed and anybody could go down in those moments. But you got up and you came back with a bang.
Again, going back to, I am very much like my mother. My mother was so competitive. So we were actually the perfect best friends because an example is we have about the same size yard. And I called her. She lived 2 blocks from my house. I said, Mom, what are you doing today? She goes, well, I'm going to go outside and mow the yard. Oh, you know what? So am I. She goes, okay, I'll race you. Here we are. She's mowing her yard. I'm mowing my yard. And I go and I call her. I said, Mom, I just finished this. I'm already walking to your house. I finished 10 minutes ago. And I'm like, because she beat me, because she won. But That's
Yeah.
how we were all the time.
Um,
So when the accident happened, it was probably one of the worst mental situations I have ever been in, because I was somewhere where I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends around. I didn't have family. I was 2,000 miles away. I was in Baltimore, Maryland, and I thought I was just going to be there a couple of weeks. And when you think it's just a couple of weeks, okay, and then I'll be home and I'll have my dogs and my friends and my family, it was 3 months. And it seemed like it was never going to end. And my doctor, I remember asking my doctor, am I going to be able to walk? And they don't want to say no, but they give you that look. And he says, whenever you're ready. Because I asked him, how long is it? When can I start walking? Can I start doing it now? And he looked at me and said, you'll know when you're ready. Your body will tell you it'll be okay. And I'm thinking, 3 months, I'm going to walk out of here. It's been 2.5 years, and I still have problems walking. I've been going to the gym. I'm trying to get stronger. So foolishly, I made a promise when I was accepting my award 2 weeks ago in Anaheim. I said, I'll be back next year and I'll be walking. And I thought, oh my God, what did you just say, Luisa? Now you have to be walking next year because you just told everybody you're going to be walking. But the competitiveness in me says, okay, Luisa, you said you're going to do it. Now go do it. So it's kind of a good thing that I let my ego get ahead of myself. So that's my goal next year, is in Philadelphia, to be walking around greeting people. I'm
yes,
looking forward to that.
we are looking to welcome you to Pennsylvania.
And truly living up to your promise that you will be walking to the stage. Yeah.
I had also wanted to share that I guess in the last 3 years, I've had 3 tragedies. And one tragedy is hard enough. 2, wow. But 3, and believe it or not, if it weren't for Toastmasters, I do not know where I would be mentally, because trying to win first place these last 3 years has diverted my attention from all the tragedy I've gone through. It was distracting me to where I would be at home in bed crying for whatever reason. And then the next morning I said, oh, okay, I got a Toastmaster meeting at noon. I've got to go practice my speech. So it was the diversion that I needed. And it was so good to, again, timing is everything. So it was, to me, it was what I needed. Toastmasters was what I needed to be able to get through the last 3 hardships that I've been through. But that was all I wanted to say about that I'm very grateful for Toastmasters for
Absolutely.
getting me through the last 3 years of my life.
And Luisa, being grateful about it is the best thing, because we need to actually feel and be grateful to our blessings. So thank you, Luisa, for sharing that Toastmaster always bringing the best in you and the best in your life. So far, you have spoken about your mother being your best friend, your father telling you so many things, and I'm very sure you would have your mentors at Toastmasters. You did mention about an energetic guy who was getting married in your speech, who had no legs, and the message that you gave at that time. I would want you to deep dive a bit more in that transforming moment when you actually met that guy and when you actually thought that I'm going to do it.
You probably won't believe this, but for the first month, I was in the trauma center. I couldn't move. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't do anything. I had 6 people that would have to roll me over, and my legs were up on metal ropes that were holding me, because they had to stay in that position so that my bones could heal properly. I had metal rods drilled into my legs to hold everything in place. So so for a whole month, I couldn't do anything for myself. The next 2 months, I wound up being in the rehab center. And I would go down to start working out, and the same people were there every day because I would go at the same time. So I knew that there was an 80-year-old man that was standing up, and he was throwing a ball and catching the ball with one of the techs there. And then there was another lady, and she was working on picking up stuff with her hand that she had had an accident with. So I knew everybody in the gym, where they were going to be at what time, because it was the same every day for 2 months. 1 week before I'm supposed to come home, I couldn't fly because I wanted to come home. I say, why can't I just finish the rehab in my hometown at home? They wouldn't let me fly because I still had brain bleeds, and I had lung clots, so that I couldn't fly. It was a risk. A week before I'm about to fly home, I roll into the gym, and there's that gentleman with no legs. And that is the only day I saw him. I had never seen him before, and I didn't see him after. So the day that I rolled into the gym and I'm crying because I am so mentally exhausted from everything, I believe he was put there for me to see, for me to be grateful for everything that I had, to show me, hey, you have your legs. You're still going to walk. Because I know that young gentleman, I know he was going to get fitted with prosthetics, and he was going to be walking because he was getting married, and that was his goal. So I had to see that in that moment. And I saw him, and I went, wow, Luisa, you need to be grateful that you still have your legs, and you will be walking one day. And I never saw him again. How crazy is that? Anyway, I had to put him in the speech, and I didn't have enough time I thought, because I'm always scared of being disqualified for time, but I left part of that out. And that was one of the 3 things that I left out that I should have mentioned.
Wow. It gave me goosebumps thinking the way you said that you didn't see that guy before or after. It was like rightly placed,
Yep, exactly.
or in your life at that very moment when you needed it
Yes.
the most. I mean,
And that happens through my whole life, my entire life. If I don't see something within minutes, it'll be within days that something comes up, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. But we have to be open to being able to see that. And some people aren't. And life would be so much easier if they would just be able to open their mind and accept what's going on around them.
Absolutely.
yeah,
As they say, God is the biggest planner. He plans things.
yeah.
Well, I know my God is, but
I know. Your God.
And your story is definitely an inspiration for all of us to believe in that planning more than ever. So, yes, that's amazing.
Apart from being a WCPS now, brand new WCPS, you are a fighter for self, fighter for street animals, fighter for your mother. But as we see every day, people in this world get panicked, overwhelmed with simple daily struggles. Every second person is talking about depression. What is your message to the world today that with so many things going around and you have come out of so critical things and bounce back? I'm sure everyone can.
So 2 things. One is I actually totaled up how many days I've been alive. I turned 65 a few months ago, and you take 65 and multiply it by 365. I can't even remember what the number is, but I have survived that many days. I've had terrible days, but the next day I woke up, got up, and said, okay, today's going to be better than yesterday, because yesterday was terrible. It was terrible. So today's going to be a better day. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. However, because I am so competitive, it's like me making it to the world stage finals but because of all the things I've been through, I'm just not going to go. I'm not going to compete. You are so close. Why would you give up? It's right there. And then I saw something on Facebook that said, whether you stop or keep going, they both hurt. I can stop and I'm going to feel terrible, or I can keep going and I'm still going to feel terrible, but at least I keep going.
Keep going.
It's the same either way. And to be quite honest with you, and I've only shared this with a few people, but the reason I wanted to win was to impress two people, my mother and my life partner, and I've lost both. So I was in my car the night before I was supposed to get on the plane. And I thought, why are you going? There's nobody left to impress. I've got real close friends. I've got family members here, but I started the journey basically for my mom, and I had just lost her. And I told myself, we'll try again next year, Luisa. Just don't go. And in that moment, there's a gentleman in Chicago, Illinois, by the name of Jeff Stein.
I know.
And he sent me, right at that moment, he sent me a text. And it said, oh my gosh, let me see if I can find it really quick.
Jeff will be happy to listen to it.
Oh, yeah. He says, Monday, August 12th, the day I was supposed to be, before I'm going to get on the plane, the day before, at 9:56 p.m., he sent me a text right here. You'd be surprised who's watching your journey and being inspired by it. Don't quit.
Wow.
And I looked, and then he sent me another one, and it said, reminder, no one is you, and that is your power. And I called him up and I said, Jeff, I hate you. And he said, what did I do? I go, now I have to go to the contest. I'd already talked myself out of it.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's wow. It was just wow. So I said, okay, fine. He said, you have no idea how many people you can inspire, how many people are watching you, how many people want you to succeed. And that is something that I think messes with me mentally daily, because look at the two of you, complete strangers. Again, going back to my speech, you are strangers, but here you are. I watched you in 2019 and I wanted you to win this year. I'm like, you don't even know me. How? But it's just so mind-blowing and hard for me to wrap my head around it, that people actually want me to succeed or me to go further. And so when Jeff sent me that message, I thought, oh, okay, I have to go now. And I did. And here we are.
Beautiful.
And I have a special message for Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff, for those words at the right timing so that we can hear her today and obviously on the stage. So that's amazing. And that's the timing of the universe, right?
Exactly. Because if I had not had my mind open and I'd read that, I went, Jeff, shut up, delete.
Yeah.
So easy to do. So many people that got me here today that I'm so grateful for. Just so many people. And again, like I said, it's hard for me to accept the fact that a stranger wants me to succeed. I have no problem wanting Taylor Swift to succeed. She doesn't even know me. So it's not comparing myself to Taylor Swift, but it's almost the same thing where people see you and they want you to do good and they want you to be better. Yeah. But again, getting back to how do you keep going? You have survived all the days. And what I've learned is it's a privilege to get old. It's a privilege denied to many. I have to realize that. And for anybody out there going through any kind of struggle, you've survived all those days in the past. And for you to give up now, it was like for me giving up. You're so close to getting there.
Yeah. It's been like couple of weeks that you have won this championship. But in that whole journey, how many people are getting impacted who watched you live or who are watching you or who will watch you in future? We don't even
Yeah.
know that with that 5 to 7 minutes talk, even if it is not a world championship speech, even if it is a finalist speech, even if it is a club speech, you know. So I always tell people, go and talk about your journey, go and talk about your story. You don't know whose life you're changing with that one 5 to 7 minute story.
That is so true. And commenting on that, I have people come up to me and tell me, I remember when you competed 8 years ago and you talked about this, because I remember that so well. And I know I had come in third place when that one lady came up and told me that. And I said, can you do me a favor? She said, sure. I said, do you remember who won first place? No. Do you remember what they talked about? No. But I remember your speech.
Wow.
And to me,
Yeah.
that's the best trophy
Absolutely.
ever. Because if people remember what you talked about, you made some kind of impact on their life. Trophies,
Yeah.
you can go buy them at the store.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
definitely. We can buy the trophies, but not the impact.
Not the
there you
impact.
go.
And friends, if you're listening to Luisa now, this is what Luisa is all about: perseverance, grit, persistence. And if you are struggling with small things in life, here is a message from Luisa to you: keep going, because you have survived till now.
Yeah.
And you don't know that you are preparing till now for a big one.
Yes,
Exactly.
wonderful. That's amazing, Luisa. And I would want to ask a last question. I know we are just about the time. Uh, what we have heard so closely in this conversation for last hour or so, you have been a strong, competitive, a woman of grit, resilience. You have never been a quitter. You have always been a go-getter. But at this moment, if you look back at your 13-year-old self, what is that message that you would want to tell that 13-year-old girl of where you are now?
What would I want to tell my 13-year-old self if I could go back and tell her anything? I think for too long, although not that long, I think for too long I worried about what people were going to say about me, which it's almost human nature. I had such a very great, strong childhood that both my mother and father kind of instilled in me that be who you are, be who you're comfortable with, be who you want to be. And other people, their opinion of you is just that, their opinion. Just like I have opinions of different things, they have opinions. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong, but be true to yourself. And I believe I probably struggled with that for a little while. And then it got to where I didn't care what people thought about me. People would say, you shouldn't do that. And especially when it came to Toastmasters and giving a speech, I said, I wouldn't talk about God if I were you. I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. And I said, well, what if you lose? I said, then I'll be back next year and I'll talk about what I want
Wow.
to talk about. So there was a short time in my life where I actually was worried about what other people thought about me or how I looked or how I dressed or what I did. Just so many things. And in the end, it's their opinion. I
Yeah.
can't change that. This is probably what I would love to give another speech on, is we've become so divisive. And that's what I was trying to get is a unity, back to a unity where It doesn't matter what church I go to. It doesn't matter who I voted for. It doesn't matter where I'm from. Everybody's from somewhere. Everybody goes to a different church. If they even go to a church, you don't even have to go to a church. You don't have to believe in a God. But as much as I want people to accept me, I need to also be able to accept people for their beliefs. And that's just it. That's what it is. Their beliefs. My beliefs are mine. Your beliefs are yours. And that's okay. No big deal. So I don't know, I guess every time I give a speech, I would rather leave a message or change someone's mind than receive a trophy. Now, don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with getting the trophy. I'll take both. But to me, more important to leave a message than to receive the trophy.
Thank you, Luisa. That, I think, it's being a really heartful conversation. I truly enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your time with us, with sharing your stories. Stories, I think, go a long way. Trophies are going to be on the shelf for sure. They look good, they do look good, but I think stories go farther and deeper into the lives of people impacting the world. So here we are with Luisa Montalvo. Thank you.
Thank you, Luisa. Thank you so much. And I think the message to the world is go out and share your story,
Stories.
because you don't know whom you are going to impact, whose life you're going to change. And whatever situation you are, I would always say that you are writing a story for yourself, because that story, that moment in future, when you look back, will connect the dots and make many, many impacts in this world. You're going to make a dent in universe with your story, because your story is your glory. Thank you, Luisa. Thank you so
Wow.
much. We learned so much from you today. It was wonderful conversing with you. And I'm sure you have just started your journey to change more lives in this world.
Yes.
And you keep doing that.